Hello and welcome to Cocktails with a Twist of History, your digital destination for all things cocktails. I think the first time I heard of a Long Island iced tea was when I moved to New York in the year, well, a long time ago. There were those that say that it's not a, quote, real cocktail, and that it was just put together in the colleges as a way to throw a lot of alcohol into a glass and get drunk. The cocktail will do that to you, so be careful when drinking it. But the Long Island iced tea is actually listed as an official cocktail by the International Bartenders Association. Let's pause for a minute to remind you to subscribe or to follow and to send a link of this show to somebody that you know. The history of the Long Island iced tea that seems to fit is that it was created by a bartender named Rosebud. His real name was Robert Butt. Yes, that was his real name. He created it in a bar called Oak Beach Inn on Long Island, New York in 1972. This makes sense, as at the time there were a lot of bartenders that were trying to make their mark. There's a different story that it came from Long Island, Tennessee. I don't know if this is true. There was a cocktail that was called the Old Man Bishop from Tennessee in the 1920s, but that was a drink that had whiskey and maple syrup, so I don't think that was the same drink. The story with Rosebud, the bartender, is that it was a cocktail competition that he was in that required the use of triple sec. This was a common thing in those days. His cocktail had equal parts vodka, gin, rum, tequila, and triple sec. And this had a splash of cola for color. It has no iced tea in it, but if made correctly, it really does taste like iced tea until it knocks you off your feet. Okay, I have been talking way too long without a cocktail in my hand, so let's make a Long Island iced tea. It's a shaken cocktail, so you need the shaker and you need all of the alcohol has to be clear because it's the cola that's going to give it its color. So it's equal parts, we said, and we are going to use equal parts 3/4 of an ounce of each because there's a lot of different alcohol in there. 3/4 of an ounce of vodka. Let's put that in. Hold on. Here we go. 3/4 of an ounce of vodka. 3/4 of an ounce of white rum. And here's our rum. And hold on. We've got our rum. There we go. 3/4 of an ounce of rum. 3/4 of an ounce of gin. Here we go. Lots of bottles. And here's our gin. And 3/4 of an ounce of tequila. I'm going to be using also the white tequila. A lot of people say it's not worth it to use the high quality alcohol in this cocktail. I don't know, I haven't done enough research on this one to figure that out, enough testing really. And then we need the triple sec. Also uses 3/4 of an ounce of triple sec, which is a nice amount of triple sec for a cocktail. Here we go. We are going to use 3/4 of an ounce of simple syrup and 3/4 of an ounce of freshly squeezed lemon juice. There we go. And we have our lemon juice. And we are going to put our ice in there. And here we go, lots of ice. It's going to need fresh ice for the glass. So just make sure that you have some of that. And hold on, that one's not coming. There we go. Now we've got our ingredients in our shaker. Let's put the cap on. And let's shake it up. There we go. It does not need a lot of shaking, just so that it gets mixed up and that it's cold. There we go. We're going to put this in a Collins glass. And as you can see, it is sort of clear with a little bit of that yellowish tinge to it. And now we're going to put our ice into there. Hold on, I'm going to put a couple of ice cubes in there. Oops, that one's not going. And then we're going to leave room on the top for a little bit of cola. I have heard that it has to be Coke that you use for this. Okay, let's try it. So here is our cocktail. Let's put a little bit of the cola in there. And we can give it a little stir. And it is supposed to look like iced tea. Now, something that everyone seems to agree on, no matter how you make this, is that it needs a lemon slice. Goes inside. There it is. Let's try. Not sure it really tastes like iced tea, but it is a good cocktail. Let's see, maybe needed a little bit more of the soda in it. Let's try this. It is a good cocktail. I'm not sure I would ever mistake it for iced tea, but it is something you can drink and just really enjoy. Well, I've heard that the craft places are the ones that shake the ingredients without the cola, obviously, and then they create the cocktail that way. The quick places just throw it all in a glass and serve. The cocktail's popularity spread throughout Long Island. It was started, we said, in the 1970s, but became worldwide known by the 1980s. It is also sometimes called an LIIT, and also sometimes called an adios mother effer. But for that one, they don't use lemon juice. That's too fancy. They use sweet and sour mix, which is just faster and easier. The name comes from the color, and you can see, and the way it's served, resembling iced tea, except that sort of doesn't. But like I said, it is a good drink. Other variations are Texas tea, which adds whiskey to that, the electric iced tea, which is blue curacao and Sprite mixed together, which makes it a blue color. The Tokyo iced tea, I've heard of this, I've never actually seen it. It has Midori, which is a melon liqueur, and Sprite, which would make it then a light green color. There are others that actually use real tea, but I think that changes the idea of the cocktail, and so it's really just a different kind of cocktail. As always, if you know more pieces of the story, we want to know about it. Put it in the comments. You can send it to us by email, or you can tell it to the bottle. We want to know. Also, please follow, please like, please subscribe, and you can send a link of this show. And thank you for watching Cocktails with a Twist of History.